Alright, Star Wars. My original plan was to lay down my thoughts about the Rise of the Skywalker trailer, then the shit with Zoe Quinn happened, and then Cyberpunk had the whole fiasco about the character creator, and yeah, this just got pushed back a tiny bit. Not a big deal, but this is something I've been sitting on for a few days now. It's well known that Disney has absolutely ruined the Star Wars franchise. They started off alright. Force Awakens actually had potential to be a pretty decent movie, then everything else happened, and it was made clear that the people in charge of this ship were aiming straight for an iceberg. Rogue One could have been a fantastic addition to the franchise, but studio interference outright vivisected this thing from step one. Solo was a horrible brain-dead cash-in to make money off of name recognition for popular character, and Last Jedi was, listen, if you have to claim that Russia hacked your audience score, you know you made a shit movie. So yeah, this has been a disappointing last few movies, and the way Disney has tried to accuse and attack fans I've pointed out has not done them any favors. Because here's something that needs to be said, cancel culture has been pretty horrible. It's turning reasonable, rational people into an emotional mob. But what I'm talking about is an offshoot of cancel culture, and it's probably more accurate to call this call-out culture. Call-out culture can be described very simple. Everyone wants that take. The one that makes people use the meme with all the black people.
What? What the fuck?
The tweet that gets featured in an article or clipped for a YouTube video. Businesses and corporations have tried to weaponize it as a way to defend themselves from criticism, but it comes across as embarrassing and cringy whenever it's attempted. Remember when Netflix helped push a mob against a dude that didn't like the movie Brie Larson directed? How about the fact that every single article that talks about controversies or consumer issues words it the exact same way? X calls out the trolls and man babies and it was beautiful. How X handled the trolls and shut them down. Everyone wants to make the most venomous attack they can, and this has hurt Star Wars, since all it has done is whittled away at the goodwill people had. You can't scream at a guy, call him an entitled manchild or a piss baby, then demand he pays you money. That's something companies nowadays just refuse to understand. Yeah, sure, you're a badass for screaming at a customer. I get it, some people are shit. Hell, work retail for a month and you'll learn that lesson hard. But when you're trying to sell something, the worst thing you can do is piss off the person you're asking to pay you. And I get there are plenty of people that don't care about the social media crap or outright agrees with it, but there apparently isn't enough to save the movies from flopping or save their amusement parks. The plain and simple truth is that Disney pissed off the wrong group of people. They pissed off the average Joe boomer normie. If you pissed off people on the internet, that's something you can most definitely survive, especially with a franchise as monumental as Star Wars, but when you piss off the people that have loved Star Wars since the 70s, then you've officially fucked up. Because everything a boomer does revolves around three things: mowing the lawn, shit-talking Mexicans, and watching Star Wars. And Disney found a way to completely cut out one of those three because of the incessant pandering and bullshit attempts at wokeness. It also just doesn't help that the movies feel so nothing. You never remember anything good after you watch them, and they only age worse as time goes on. It's literally the opposite of the original trilogy, where they only get better the more you think about them. Because what killed the new trilogy was simply letting J.J. Abrams take the helm. Now, I'm not going to shit-talk the dude completely. I think he is a good filmmaker, and I genuinely enjoyed Star Trek and Super 8, but his problem is he just doesn't have a style at all. His entire career revolves around finding a franchise he loves, then remaking it with his name slapped on. Super 8 was just Goonies mixed with a monster movie. Star Trek was just Star Wars. And Star Wars is, well, fucking Star Wars. The Force Awakens is just A New Hope again, but with less charisma or thought. But I will say this about Force Awakens, there was clearly a plan put in place. Abrams had things he wanted to flesh out as the trilogy went on, so anybody that says Rey was too powerful, yeah, I understand the frustration if it was a standalone movie, but there was clearly a plan. This was a planned trilogy that had an idea of what it wanted to explore with that. The idea that Rey was becoming too powerful and had no training to keep herself together was clearly something they were going to bring up eventually. The problem is that, well, Last Jedi happened and all that went to piss. I honestly feel bad for Abrams. He has to finish up this trilogy when Rian Johnson decided to completely destroy his plans and botch the second chapter. So now he has to follow up on everything Johnson left behind, with Dead Luke, Dead Akbar, Dead Resistance. There's absolutely nowhere to go, but Abrams has to take this and run with it. You know it's bad when they literally have to announce they might outright ignore Last Jedi. How the hell could that even work? Was Last Jedi a dream or something like that, like a drug hallucination? Was Finn just doing peyote in the desert this entire time? fuck it, who cares anymore? This franchise is dead. Some people say The Mandalorian looks pretty good, but isn't that going on Disney Plus? Why sign up for another streaming service that's probably only going to be good for a season or two? Star Wars has just been exhausting. It's exhausting to see retards insist these movies are good. It's exhausting to constantly have this franchise beaten over our heads. It's exhausting to see obvious steps that could have been taken outright ignored for the sake of a marketing demographic. What do I mean about that last point? Well, it's pretty simple. There is a phenomenal trilogy trapped underneath a mediocre one. The problem with the new trilogy revolves almost completely around Rey. She's a blatant attempt to make a strong woman, and very little personality is ever shown beyond, generic, casual Marvel shit, and that means they never take anything seriously or constantly crack jokes. Yeah, it's just, ugh. Now, Daisy Ridley does play the character pretty alright, it's just the material given that's the problem. So you want to know how to make the trilogy good? Take away her force powers and give them to Finn. Finn honestly had the best setup for a character in the entire trilogy. He's a stormtrooper that deserts out of cowardice. That's interesting. He should have been the Jedi, in all honesty. Make the trilogy be about Finn and his journey to overcome his fear and become a hero. It's an angle we haven't really seen in a mainstream Star Wars movie yet. See, the emphasis has always been on anger and frustration. Luke became angry and frustrated, Anakin was angry and frustrated, but they established the dark side can be attached to pretty much any negative emotion, because it all leads to the same result. So why not explore the idea that Finn wants to become a hero but is crippled by fear and doesn't know what he's doing? Remember guys, there isn't really an Obi-Wan in this new hypothetical trilogy. Sure, you had Han Solo in Force Awakens, but to call him Obi-Wan, nah. That's ignoring the fact he had no force powers whatsoever. Now, there is no one to walk him through the basics. So this guy that's been brainwashed into thinking he's nothing but a replaceable cog, who suddenly learns he's very much not that, needs to find a way to save the galaxy. Hell, maybe if you're smart you can pull a Knights of the Old Republic and have him start training as a Jedi, but find out the philosophy of Jedi, the whole giving yourself to a greater good, the individual does not matter in the grand scheme, is basically the same thing as stormtroopers. So he decides to abandon both sides and go down a gray Jedi path. Maybe it's just me, but that sounds way better than just rehashing the same crap we've already seen. Also, to just put it out there, Darth Rey is most definitely a dream or a vision. She's not going evil. Disney doesn't have the balls to make their new princess, and let's face it, Rey is basically a Disney princess, into a villain. So those are just some thoughts on the Skywalker trailer. Didn't talk much about the trailer itself since it's just nothing. Half of it is just a montage of stuff from all the previous movies, and the other half is basically them going, hey, remember the Empire? Remember Palpatine? Hey, remember Return of the Jedi? Yeah, no. Probably not even gonna watch this. Tapped out of Rogue One, and nothing since is even... No. Nothing has been worth watching ever since. And everyone admits that. So instead, I'm gonna watch things that have genuine care put behind it, because there's plenty of stuff coming that looks fucking great. Sure, it's all next year, but hey, it's something to wait for. Like Uzumaki, which tickles a little Junji Ito fanboy in me and has me super fucking hyped. I mean, when you have the composer of Hereditary, you know something's gonna be fucking good. So I guess until next time, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I would put a Star Wars joke here, but that shit would be gay as fuck, so I'm just not gonna do that. Yeah, see you guys.